Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Gemini moons, or if you have significant Gemini placements in your chart and are needing a feminine energy to work with or balance within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Gemini, you have a really lovely reading. It feels very light and uplifted. But there's this situation here. So we're starting off here, the overall context, the ecstasis card, the maiden, and the piper. So I'm feeling this as being sort of I feel like you're being called towards a situation or perhaps a specific individual with the piper here, but perhaps you're not aware of that yet. It's kind of like this piper kind of feels like you're being called somewhere, right? Like perhaps being led somewhere, perhaps by your intuition. It was coming through a lot with intuitively you're being drawn towards a certain situation or perhaps a person. It's kind of how this is feeling. It is absolutely a new beginning. And I'm also seeing this. You have 3 spirit cards in the bottom of this deck. So you have the dragonfly spirit change, the pine spirit purification, and the bear spirit healing. Because I feel like you're actually coming through as being sort of these 2 energies, as being sort of as sort of the air sign, the dragonfly and the pine spirit, the purification. And there's someone here, perhaps an earth sign is kind of how it's coming through, as being sort of perhaps one who's in need of healing, but it doesn't have to be that exactly. It just kind of feels like with the other cards that are coming through. So there are 2 energies here. So you choose whichever one resonates with you the most. I'm going to read it the way that I see it, as you being sort of this figure here, the Titan the Sylph, because I see this as a very Gemini energy, because you're ruled by Mercury. So it's talking about very quick movements, being very flexible, being very adaptable. Again, because it's coming through with all of this purple energy with the dragon power as well, I feel like it's a very intuitive sort of calling, right? So it's kind of feeling like one of those situations where you're being pulled towards a certain thing or situation or whatever, that perhaps you're not aware of why it's happening or why you're being called in that direction, but it's like the pull is there. There's a draw. There's something calling you with the piper intuitively to this situation. And this card is really interesting because it talks about sort of needing to make very quick sort of adjustments, or something catches your eye and you immediately come to a stop, right? So I feel like there's kind of this situation here where it's you're just traveling, perhaps moving, or just exploring, or going places, or doing something different, just following whatever this sort of intuitive call is, and then you see something that stops you in your tracks. Is kind of how it's coming through here with the dragon power. And what that thing is this glowing orb. It's coming through with these 2 cards, which is so fascinating. This is why it's kind of coming through as an earth sign. So it could be somebody with earth in their chart, or it could just be, if it's not a person, just something earthy, something very tangible, something physical, something that you can touch, see, feel, whatever. So you have the wise woman of the grove, Grace, and Geo the Slow, which is really interesting. And this wise woman of the grove came out next to this, these 2 cards came out together, the meandering path flow, right? So I feel like you're this character here, right? Where it's you have perhaps maybe you've made plans to go somewhere, or you're just running errands or something like that, just in a flow state, right? You're just going where you feel called to go. And then something draws your attention, right? There's this thing, whatever this thing is, and it kind of feels like it's attached to a specific person or something like that, whatever this glowing object is, right? So it could just be an object of some sort that draws your attention, but that's absolutely for you. It's a really interesting, this was kind of coming through as grandparents for some reason. So it could be something this Geo the Slow was looking to me almost like a photograph, or something like that. So it might be like a photograph of your grandparents. I don't know. It doesn't have to be that. That's just one example. Or there's something almost like frozen about this energy is kind of how it's feeling, especially with the Geo, the slow, because it's kind of like whatever this thing is, it's almost like I'm seeing that the other person or object or energy as being the sleeping figure, and you're sort of like this dragon energy that's sort of coming in, right? Which is talking to me about like your third eye vision, right? Like you notice something about this person or situation that is not perhaps immediately visible on the surface, I want to say. It's not something that's like very clear to others is kind of how it's coming through. It's something that's very intuitive, or energetic in some way. And it's kind of like what was coming through here. It's like whatever this thing is, it's almost like they left something out on display is kind of how this is feeling. It's the meme that was coming through with this, if you're familiar with that, like the Homer Simpson meme where he sort of like backs into like a bush behind him, almost like to like, but not in a way to like avoid a situation, but it's kind of like this person, I'm going to call it a person, though it doesn't have to be, it's just for ease of the delivery. I'm going to call it a person. It's like this person has some sort of gift is kind of how I want to put it. Like a gift, or like perhaps even like a dream or desire or something like that, right? Whatever this glowing orb is. But it's almost like there was this energy of like the feeling of frozenness or like non-movement, or like almost like backing away from some sort of dream or desire. Because of whatever reason. I don't know what that reason is, right? Like it could be some sort of wounding because of the healing card, but it doesn't have to be that, right? It could just be something like there was some sort of dream or desire that this one had that became frozen or like stagnant or not moving because perhaps it was just taking too long, or perhaps they gave up on it in some way or something like that, right? It's like they have some sort of gift or dream or whatever that sort of glowing orb thing represents. Like, I don't know what it is, a memory or something like that they has become frozen or stagnant or non-moving, and it's almost like they fell asleep is kind of how it's feeling like they fell asleep, almost like waiting for this dream to come true or something like that. And it's kind of like you, Gemini, are coming along, right? Like it's like you're noticing something, right? Like on your path while you're just doing things, you're noticing something. And it's drawing your attention, because I feel like it's kind of like with this card coming out next, the Nihilist, the Alchemist, with this sort of like the Magician's Wand, it's like you have the ability to like activate it. Is kind of how it's coming through. Like activate it or reignite the spark or something like that, right? Because when this card came out, I was seeing, like I always see this as sort of like awakening of some aspect of power or like a gift or whatever, especially with the word power that's coming through here, like awakening some dormant aspect or energy. And I feel like that's what you're being drawn to here, Gemini, this situation. It's like you have the ability to activate this one's dream is kind of how it's feeling, right? Like just very easily. It's not necessarily something. Well, maybe it might end up being sort of a partnership or of some sort, because how I was seeing this is kind of like whatever this dream or desire or gift is on their part, it's almost like it became too heavy for them to carry by themselves is kind of how it's feeling to me. Like it's almost like it's like this is something that they want, that this is something that they're trying to create maybe, or some aspect of their power or their gifts or abilities or however you want to phrase that. But it became too heavy for them to carry by themselves is kind of how it's coming through for whatever reason. Perhaps it's something that like they can't do by themselves or something like that, but it's like you have the ability to perhaps activate it or lighten the load or like carry it with them is kind of how it's feeling to me. I don't know in what capacity though. I don't know exactly what that is, which is interesting. It could even be just like sort of like giving them or like reminding, it could even be something like, so if it's not a partnership, it could even be something like, this might have been a dream of theirs when they were younger or at a less experienced stage or something like that. But it's like, and so they almost like took a time out to rest or recover, and they like put it down or put it aside or something like that. But now it's like while they've been resting or waiting or whatever it is, like backing away from it, perhaps, it's almost like they've become much stronger now is kind of how it's coming through. They've perhaps matured in some way or something like that, especially with this. It's like there was almost like this like stagnation, I'm going to call it. But it doesn't, I don't want to frame it as stagnation because this Geo the Slow card talks about waiting until the right solution becomes clear. It's like I think of it as sort of like a snow globe, right? Like you shake a snow globe and you have to wait until everything settles, until the clear path forward becomes clear to you. So it could be something like that whatever, it's like whatever this dream is, I'm going to call it a dream. It feels like a dream or something that they're wanting to create or something like that, right? Like they've been wanting to do something, but when that dream first came in for them, it wasn't possible yet is kind of how it's feeling because of whatever reason. But in the so it's kind of like they backed away from it, right? They disappeared into the bush or whatever, until the dream was ready to be opened or whatever, like a gift or something like that. And it's like, it's time now, right? But it's almost like they fell asleep waiting for whatever it was to happen. They fell asleep, and so you're almost coming in as like an alarm clock to like wake them up, to be like, okay, it's time now. You can move forward or you can do this thing. And it's really interesting because it's almost like, it's like, just like, I'm seeing all this like this clay sort of like being broken down, right? It's like they've been in the kiln. I don't know if I'm using the right words for that, for whatever. But anyways, so the next card out here is you have the Foggy Bog Patience, and then you have the Rainbow Waterfall Miracles, and then Iris of the Rainbow. Because it kind of feels like with this Foggy Bog Patience card, it's like I'm seeing this as being like the other person. Again, this whole reading could be flipped. So it could be that I'm describing your energy here. Just fit it in your story however you see fit. But what I'm seeing here is kind of like this figure here coming back to life with the Foggy Bog. But it's like there's all of this sort of like tangledness about the situation, right? It's almost like they have to like claw themselves out of the bush that they disappeared into is kind of how it's feeling, right? Like it's like while they were waiting for this dream or something to manifest, maybe it's like they backed away, and it's almost like they got covered up by whatever this energy is in the surroundings. It's almost like they have to like dig themselves out of it or something like that. Or perhaps that's what you're there for, is to help them with that process, maybe. But I'm really just seeing it as being like, for you, Gemini, your task is really simple. It feels like it's just kind of like tapping them on the shoulder or like just waking them up, right? It's like an alarm clock, like just like it could even be something like you might even be doing this unintentionally is kind of how it's coming through, especially with this, because it's almost like maybe you don't see them. It's like maybe you try to like pick up this gift or whatever because you didn't see that they were there in the bushes, right? Like they were hiding in the bushes, and then you picked up this gift, and that's almost like the alarm, like almost like an Indiana Jones, like you activated some sort of alarm, or like a I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it's necessarily a bad thing, right? It's not that it's not like you were trying to take or steal or whatever. It's just like you found something on the ground maybe that you didn't know belonged to anyone, and it's like you picked it up, and now it activated sort of their whatever. It's like they're waking up and saying, this is my dream, this is mine, maybe. And I feel like there's a bit, perhaps that's a bit of maybe that's causing a little bit of fogginess in their energy as well. That might be sort of a thing that you may need to work through with them, because it kind of feels like, as I was saying in the beginning with this dragon power, right? It's like this is something that they've been holding on to for a long time. It's kind of how it's feeling. They've been wanting to create this dream for a really long time. But again, it's almost like this burden became too much for them at a certain point, right? It's like that's why they put it down. They backed away from it. And so because maybe it's something that is supposed to be done with two, or with another person, or a partnership. It's like you have to carry whatever this load is together. It's like something that is supposed to be done as a partnership, but perhaps while they were like waiting, it's kind of feeling like they forgot that, or they I don't know, maybe it's just kind of like a feeling of like, well, this is mine, go find your own kind of thing. And I don't know if that's I don't know if that's kind of true. I don't know if that's true. If it is kind of like it's theirs and they have some sort of ownership on it, and it's kind of like they're wanting you to find your own or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, you have here the rainbow waterfalls, because I was also kind of seeing this as like something like, because they're sort of in this, sorry, I dropped a card. Because they're sort of in this foggy bog, patient, like this is an energy between the two of you that there is patience required, because I feel like for you, Gemini, there's kind of this energy of like, you're moving very quickly, right? It's like Gemini, I feel like is very fast moving energy, very adaptable, very flexible, very easy to sort of change and adapt and shift perspectives maybe. But for them, especially because they're coming through as being like an earth sign, or somebody who is perhaps just moving slower energetically than you, right? It's like there is movement now is kind of how it's feeling, but it's like they take slower steps, or they just move at a slower pace. And for you, it's kind of coming through as impatience, right? It's kind of like all of this sort of, this sort of like, whatever these things are in the squiggles, whatever these are, it's almost coming through as like a fly, right? Like it's kind of like you're this sort of fast moving energy that's trying to like get them to move faster. And like perhaps that's causing almost like a stirring up of their energy. It's like perhaps they're feeling rushed, or they're feeling like but it's like that's where you need to come together a little bit. It's like perhaps Gemini, you need to slow down, and perhaps they need to move a little faster in order for this to work, because it kind of feels like this is where the tension, especially because these two cards came out side by side. One of the fastest moving compared to the slowest moving card in these two decks, right? This one is incredibly fast moving. And there's also this kind of caution for you Geminis, like make sure you're not missing anything, right? Because it's like it could be something like, if you haven't encountered this energy yet, it's like if you're moving too fast, you would just blow right past this, is kind of how it's feeling. But I feel like you're not. I feel like you are coming together with it. It kind of feels like you've already encountered whoever this person is, but it's kind of like there may be sort of like this energy here of like you're almost like flying circles around them, right? Trying to get them to move faster. But the guidance here is patience, right? Slowing down. Because it's kind of like they're just waking up, right? Maybe they need like a cup of coffee or something like that. They need something to like propel them back into movement, right? It's like maybe just like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what that is, but because you have this like the Rainbow Miracles card and the Iris of the Rainbows coming out next, it's kind of like what I was seeing with this is like for you, Gemini, it's almost like all you have to do is remain still is kind of how it's going through, which I feel like might be difficult for you. Just because it's kind of like that's where I'm feeling the resistance, right? It's like this energy. You want to move, you want to do things, you want to get started on whatever it is, but it's kind of like if you're patient enough, because it's like you're here in the right place, right? You're in the right place is kind of how it's feeling, but it's not the right time yet, or it's like but it is coming soon. It's happening soon. It's just perhaps feeling like it's not soon enough, or it's like I've been here, I've been waiting. There's kind of, especially with this dragonfly spirit, right? It's like you're in the right place is kind of how it's feeling, but perhaps the light, it's like it's not morning yet, right? It's like maybe you're trying to wake them when they're still sleeping, and it's like they still need a couple hours of sleep, or they still need some time to like recover, or like to get their energy back or something like that. And it's like you're in the right place. All you have to do is sort of wait, because eventually the sun is going to come out, right? It's going to be morning, and there'll be this beautiful sort of rainbow miracle that happens. And then you also have the fairy that was kissed by the pixies, which I love so much, because this is an energy that's very reciprocal, right? And you see here, there's like this bear in the background with the healing, the bear spirit healing, that I feel like whatever this change is that's coming for you, or this situation, is inevitable, right? The change is inevitable, but there's this like, it's like it's still winter, or this one's still waking up from some sort of like hibernating state, and it's like you're waiting for spring, right? You're waiting for this sort of change to come in. Perhaps it's just kind of like this energy. I'm just seeing it as like flat, like a fly or a bee, like just buzzing around this one, trying to get them to move, right? So it could be something like that. And they will is kind of how it's feeling. The situation will change. You are in the right spot. It's going to be reciprocal and beautiful and lovely and an equal exchange and all of this, right? It's kind of just like they need to get their energy back, or they need a cup of coffee, or they just need a couple more hours of sleep or something like that. I don't know exactly what that is. But anyway, Gemini, I'm going to leave it there. If you're interested in the extended, you can find the link in the description box below. If you're interested in a personal reading, you'll also find my website. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.